Thanks.
Okay. Is everyone comfy? Retail training. Okay, and you're going to keep an eye on this, yeah?
Is this live now?
Yeah, it is, Johnny. We'll find out, won't we? Probably not, because it's a really weird time of day.
That one? No. 10. Where's all the pens gone?
I don't know, I think we did the bottom right there.
Yeah, we got one.
Guys, pen, clipboard, okay, ready? We're now, do you need clipboard or are you okay with your book? Oh, okay. You're going to have way more information than I've got, so that's fine. Okay, hello, everyone. This is going to be really, if you have questions, it's really important for you to ask them because you're coming at this from a non-therapist point of view. So in terms of when we get to how we put them all together, that's a really important bit. So on here, it's been designed so it's as idiot-proof as possible. Now I can see how hard it is for trainers. Jesus. So on this one, we've got cleansing and exfoliating. Then we've got all of the correctors that we have. Then we've got the moisturisers, and then the mask and the SPF, and we've got minerals and other stuff. So to start with, if we work with just the cleansers, so out of all the companies that we've got, so Vitage is a cosmetic, which is also an antioxidant range, which means it is protecting the skin, it reduces redness, and it's more of a surface cleanser, which is what we're trying to do. So it's great for people that wear heavier makeup, that have a normal combination or an oily skin, and it's great for your double cleansing. I use it alongside the Surface Radiance if I'm really oily. So I'll do my first cleanse with the Revitalising Daily Cleanse, and then I'll do my second one with the Surface Radiance Cleanser. I'm going to put a lid on that so I don't draw purple all over everything. You don't need very much. It's obviously what we all use in treatment anyway. It will last you forever, so it's £22. This one I would say is your generic to start with. If someone's got a really mature dehydrated skin, you're better to go for the foam. So the Calm Eyes foam is a red alert. It comes under the red alert, or what used to be red alert range. So it is green, it comes out green, which can be slightly disconcerting because it's got an algae in it. And that reduces redness, calms inflammation, is good for acne people if they don't wear a lot of makeup. But it also depends on what people want, because the thing about skin is that a lot of people think their skin feels different to how it actually is. So a lot of acne people particularly are actually really dehydrated, so their skin feels quite crepey. Your skin's a perfect example, where it needs more hydration inside it, and so it feels more bumpy and slightly rougher to the touch, and that's more of a dehydrated skin. Then you've got the Surface Radiance Cleanse. This is a salicylic based cleanser. What is salicylic, Abby? Mr. Muscle. Okay. Oh, you haven't got a voice. Anybody else? Salicylic acts like Mr. Muscle, so it goes in and it cleans the pores out. This is an extremely aggressive cleanser, Surface Radiance Cleanse. It's a gel, it does foam up a little bit. It's a fantastic cleanser for someone with congested skin, but I would say you only use it 3 times a week. I've been using it for the last couple of nights where my skin's been broken out, but I've done my first cleanse to get all my face and my makeup off with the Revitalising Daily Cleanse. The biggest thing for people is doing a double cleanse at night, particularly. In the morning you don't need to worry about doing a double cleanse because sometimes it can be too harsh, but the first cleanse, you want it, first cleanse removes the day and the second cleanse actually cleans the skin. So yeah, go on.
But then if somebody comes with like congestion skin and said I want cleanser, then it means they should buy 2 cleansers?
No, always start with Vitage.
Okay.
Always start with Vitage.
Okay.
Because this is like people have been put in hospital because they've used that too much.
Okay.
Yeah.
then start with Vitage, and then if they want like deeper cleansing,
then,
they can buy
almost
that
as a
and
treatment,
combine.
as an add-on. Yeah.
Okay.
And also, we're going to go into all of this. If you're dealing with someone with an oily skin, you can make sure the skin's completely clean, and then you start using something like the Perfection Gel or the Blemish. But we'll go into that. We'll come up with whole programs for people. So they're the cleansers. I know when you've gone on training with Medicate, there are so many different products, so many different cleansers. But what I've tried to do here is get the best of both. We've got an everybody cleanser, we've got a more mature, dehydrated, more sensitive kind of skin, and then we've got the really serious stuff. Everyone happy with that? Cool?
Yeah.
Okay. Then we've got 2 exfoliators. Any questions? Anyone on? Oh, hi! Anybody watching?
It's been around for.
Oh, cool. Micro skin polish. I'm not a fan of this personally. We have it because we have it. I don't find it's abrasive enough for me. It's greater for mature skin, but I think if you're dealing with someone who's got a lot more congestion, who really wants that deep cleanse with an exfoliator and bikini line, that's the pore refining scrub. Has that got? I'm assuming that's got salicylic in. You guys have done the information more recently. Go on.
What do you class as mature?
In skin sense, it's technically anybody over the age of 35. I would actually put that, it depends. It depends on what skincare you're using. So if you're using something like all the Vitsy and the retinol, someone like Juliette, for example, I would put her on a micro skin polish because her skin is so well prepped because she's been using the skin renewal and the barrier restore for so long that her skin's beautiful. So she doesn't need something as aggressive as that. I would only say you're doing a scrub once a week, if that.
Then which one is strongest?
Pore refining. Both of them have got jojoba in, I think. I'm going to query that one. Yeah, jojoba beads, which means they are biodegradable, it is not affecting the planet, and it's all eco and sustainable. Okay. Happy? Now we're into the correctors. So the way that skincare works is you clean it, you correct it, you hydrate it, and then you protect it. Yeah? Cool. 4 steps, 4 products, easy peasy. Okay. The step there. Let's move Ellie. So let's start with congestion first, and then we'll move around a little bit. So, from a congested point of view, Jane, when you said about someone that's got more of an acne kind of skin, you know that client, the young girl that you had?
Yeah.
That's the kind of person that you'd start with the blemish. So you'd get on Vitage cleanser because especially with young people, they're using a lot of makeup, so you want to make sure they're really, really cleaning it properly, and then you want to clean it from the inside. So the Blemish SOS is, I think it's now a 2% salicylic.
They changed it, didn't they?
Yeah, it used to be 3%, and I think it was too strong. It's 2% salicylic, so it's basically a spot-on treatment for congestion. Easy peasy. It's in a gel. You put it on second to the Hydrate B5. Yeah, yeah. I was just checking myself then. Yeah. You put it on second to the Hydrate B5. Use that, and then you can put other stuff over the top. So you can put the C Tetra Serum over the top. You can put the Skin Renewal over the top.
On the sauce.
Yeah. Then the other option is the gel perfector. So the difference between Medicate and Priori is that Medicate is basically a shot and Priori is a whole load of cocktails that has got everything in it. So really basic, really simple. Priori has everything it needs. It's a lactic acid compound, which means your skin is made up of lactic acid naturally, so you are not going to react to it. If you do, it's really, really rare. If you've got someone that's got a very sensitive, prone skin, if they get really hot every time you touch it, every time you do a cleanse, you get really red like you, just like you need to be on Priori rather than Medicate, because sometimes the shots can be too intense. It's a bit like doing a tequila shot and wondering why you're vomiting, as opposed to drinking mojitos and wondering why you're okay. Exactly the same. You can't necessarily put that much onto her skin. Abby's a great example because her skin's so sensitive. She needs something like the Skin Renewal. So that's the difference between the two, which is why we have both of them, because they work really beautifully within conjunction with each other, but we just need to be careful with layering, which is what we're going to go into in a bit. So that's the congestion. So the gel perfector is the cocktail of everything that you need for a congested skin. You've got the lactic acid compound, you've also then got the salicylic, which does what?
Work from inside.
Muscle.
Thank you. Accent muscle. Okay. So what that's going to do is a really, really light gel. It's really, really good for a lightweight cream if you're with someone with acne, because they're terrified of putting anything on it. With an acne skin, specifically acne, you need to hydrate and flush the skin, but people are terrified. They are terrified that the minute you put anything on it, it's going to break out. And so you need to make sure you're hydrating it, which is what the lactic's doing, because lactic's wound healing. So it stimulates wound healing, which means that it will flush, it will increase collagen, elastin, repair the whole body of the skin, at the same time as clearing it out with the salicylic.
Then it's gel perfection, yeah?
Yeah.
What number is that?
What do you mean?
The number on the front of it.
What, the FX,
Yeah, is it
the LCA, so that's the lactic acid.
No. So is it not like 120 or something? Or not 140?
Yeah.
Oh, does
It's
it?
the label code.
Yeah.
So is that it? Is that all it is?
Oh yeah. So what number is it?
Oh, and that's 140. That's 120.
It's the formula code.
So that's the one
Yeah.
you put on first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As opposed to what?
140.
Oh, is that the best way to work it out?
No,
No,
so-
that's what
so
I
let's-
call it. That's what I call it because they're the ones that I've got.
Oh,
I don't
Okay.
know what they are.
No, it's literally just the code that they do. So
okay.
So
I was going to say it doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean anything
no,
to do
no,
with ingredients.
yeah,
I'm looking at you guys
it's just
because you've done the
it's the
training.
Yeah.
ingredient, so it's the formula code of
Of the ingredient,
And
because they had to repattern it.
yeah.
I was like, what are you talking about? What's that? I don't know what that number means. These are number 2. Technically, if you're going to go from 1 to 2 in terms of corrector moisturiser, these 2 are the ones that you're working for. So if you're working on a really basic system of it's got a 2 on it, that means it's 2 and that one's 4.
Yeah. So I put that one on first and then that one.
Yeah, which is exactly what you should do. And what I've been doing with people is actually writing with a permanent marker a 1 on the skin renewal or the gel perfect, especially the skin renewal, because it is identical to that one, which is the barrier restore. So if you put it the other way around, you're not going to get the results that you want. Skin renewal is the same as the gel perfector in terms of it is actually half the strength of the Priori peel that we do. That is just the lactic acid compound. It's for every single skin. It doesn't matter how old you are, who you are, what you're using. It is the best product under the sun. And that's the kind of thing that you can combine other stuff with. You have to be slightly careful mixing it with the retinols and the C-tetras, purely because you're dealing with acids and versus vitamins. I would say this is a hero product for everybody. It's the one thing that if someone was going to buy a set of skincare, you'd cleanse it, you'd correct it, and then worst case scenario, if they weren't going to buy a moisturiser, you'd put an SPF 30 over the top, just to protect it. What have we got next? Then we've got let's go on to the Hydrate V5. Hydrate V5 is also a hero product, and every single person should be using it in the world because it's hyaluronic acid. So that's the lactic is stimulating hyaluronic acid within your skin. So in the wound healing cycle, you stimulate hyaluronic acid by having lactic acid in your skin. So your skin has literally got jellyfish sitting inside it, which are called fibroblasts, which sit inside the collagen production area of my awesome artistic skill. And you know in Finding Nemo, where they have those bombs outside the thing, and if anything touches the bombs, they explode. It's just like that with fibroblasts. But the way it works is the water has to get to that point to raise it up before it explodes. Does that make any sense? So, once they explode, they stimulate all of the collagen production within your skin. So you need to make sure that this has water in it, which is what the lactic acid does, but it's also what hyaluronic acid does. So hyaluronic acid is water, and what you're trying to do is get as much water in your skin as possible to stimulate as much collagen as possible. The other really awesome thing about water molecules is that they don't burst, they duplicate. So they can hold 10 times their own body weight, and instead of bursting, they pop and make a new one, and they pop and make a new one, and they pop and make a new one. So this is magic. So whatever type of skin, dehydrated, combination, oily, acne, everybody, that's the first thing you want to put on. It says on the back of the pot to put 5 drops on. Don't need 5 drops. 6 drops. 6 drops is what we would use in treatment if we were going to go all the way down to here and go all the way up to here. And rub it in about 5 times. So you only need 2 drops max with something like the Hydrate V5 when you're using it at home. That can be used first, so you've cleansed. Hydrate V5 is the first product you put on your face, and then you can use other stuff over the top of it.
Okay, but if you use sauce, then sauce for the spots first and heat
No, Hydrate V5 first.
First.
So the way that it works in terms of ordering is consistency. So water is thinner than a gel is thinner than a cream is thinner than an SPF. Yeah? So that's congested and normal skin. We've got, let's go into the C tetras. So now we're working in a shot formulation. Okay, so we're working with like tequila and vodka and everything else now. So the C stuff is what happens during the day. So vitamin C you use during the day. Vitamin C lightens, brightens, increases collagen, repairs. It is an oil-based consistency. My skin hates it. I don't know why. It can't stand it. And you guys reacted to the more intensive one, didn't you? I use this probably once a week. You love it.
I like the cream.
You like the cream, but then that's a lower percentage.
But then I like the Super C. My skin works well with
Pure
that.
C or Super C? Pure C, it's water based. Or were you on the Super C 30?
I've just used up the Super C
30 was the sample one. The C Tetra range has about 7 different products in it. And what I've done here is try to strip it back as much as possible so that we can start on the most basic and work our clients up in a bespoke way instead of having all of the products here. So the reason we only have such a tiny amount of products. Questions or not? No. Tiny range of what all of these product houses actually house, because what I wanted was to make it as easy for people as possible to be able to have a really good skincare routine. C Tetra, again, is vitamin C, lightening, brightening. The Pure C15 is the strongest version of vitamin C and it's water-based. So someone like me who hates an oil, that's my hero product, because that's the kind of thing that I can put on and it will just absorb straight in. I would still put that after Hydrate B5.
Yeah.
So you flush it, you put your serums in, and then you seal it all in. Any questions on that? You guys have just done, just in general, you've just done the training?
Yeah.
No?
No.
Then we've got Calm-Wise. So Calm-Wise is a serum for anti-redness. So if someone comes in really flushed, this is fantastic. You can put that underneath the skin renewal. I wouldn't recommend putting the C Tetra unless you've tried it yourself.
Which one?
So the Red Alert, the Calm-Wise, you can put underneath the skin renewal and the Perfection Gel. But I wouldn't necessarily put the C Tetra underneath the skin renewal. It might be fine, but I don't think so. I think the lactic acid combining with the vitamin C would
cancel it out.
Yeah, it would just be too much. It would just have its own little congealing mess going on inside your skin. I haven't got very many people on this because I don't have that many people that are that red and that sore. But someone like Joe is on That's Forest. Can someone just cancel that out? Let's take 45 minutes to call back. It's more if someone's really hot, really sore. You can keep that in the fridge. So over the summer when people get really, really flushed, that's a great thing to keep in the fridge. Not really much to say about that, it's more of a red. We haven't got retinol 3TL down here. White balance. So someone with congestion, with pigmentation, the white balance is what you'd go for. It comes in 2 pots that you've got to press and click and shake. You use one and then you use up the next one because it's so strong that you don't want to have a big bottle of it because otherwise it's going to go out of date and it's going to run out. The way that this works is it breaks down the melanin within the cells. So with pigmentation, pigmentation is the hardest thing to treat. It's the one thing that you need to manage expectations on massively because you can't create wonders. It's physically impossible. You have tiny little octopus that sit inside your skin and they have all their tendrils up and into your cells and they ink whenever they're stimulated, which could be internal, so hormonal, and it could be external, i.e. sun. It can also be triggered through periods, it can be triggered through being in sunlight, it can also be where you've hit your face on something, it could have been where you've overstimulated your skin with product. So if you've been using something like Nick, which is more like a nail varnish, the toner is the same strength pH-wise as a nail varnish remover. If you're using that on your skin and completely stripping back the layers of your skin, that is very likely to cause pigmentation because what it's going to do is just stimulate those octopuses. The reason you tan is purely to act as a scar. So you're scarring your skin by getting a tan because what it's trying to do is act as a protective layer so your vital organs don't get damaged by UV. So you ink into your skin, and the reason this top half of your body gets darker than this part of your body is because you've only got 2 octopus per centimetre square of your skin in your legs, whereas you have 30 to 40 in your trunk of your body because it's there to absorb the sun. So the reason you go brown is because you are trying to absorb UV to protect your body because that's how you get cancer. Yeah. In terms of the colour difference between skins, a black skin is no different to a white skin in the amount of melanin that it has. It's how fast that ink gets into the skin cells. So someone like Usain Bolt, his skin just flushes continuously with melanin, whereas yours and mine only inks a little bit when we're not made for the sun. It's just a hereditary thing. It's just where you are on the planet, depending on how much UV your body is stimulated to. This is an incredible product. It does work. It does need to be worked in along other things. I would say with the skin renewal and most certainly with the retinol because you need to start exfoliating the skin up. Has anyone got any questions just yet? No? I'm going to whiz through all this as fast as possible. Retinol. Retinol is vitamin A. It is the kind of thing that needs to be recommended by one of us, i.e. in salon and by a skin specialist. It's not the kind of thing that if you buy on the high street is going to be in the right percentage to be used anywhere. If you buy it in a product in the high street, the percentage is so small that it's not going to make a difference and you're going to be spending a lot of money. These are really reasonably priced retinols for the strength that they are, which is incredible that Medik8 are able to do it. We have a 3TR, which looks like that, but is an oil-based. You can really swell with retinol. And on the side of the box, it goes through the instructions on how you need to be using it. People are not allowed to use it every day from day 1. You'll be fine day 1, you'll be fine day 2, day 3, you'll wake up looking like a hamster. You swell that much and that fast. It's crazy. And then what will happen is the swelling will reduce, your whole skin will crust and it will go bobbly. You can tell when people have overused retinol from just the feel of their skin. Adding this in, so if I've got people on routines with skin renewal during the day, I get them to use their skin renewal at night and once a week. So the first week, like on a Monday and a Thursday, they use their retinol, and on the other nights they use their skin renewal, and then you swap it out as you go. Retinol is incredible. It is anti-aging, it's for scarring. What it's doing is those cells at the bottom of your skin move up throughout the month. So as your skin cycles, it sheds naturally, whereas what retinol is doing is speeding that process up. So it's a bit like having a shovel at the bottom of your skin, shoveling it up and up and up. It's basically internal exfoliation. So doing a scrub on the surface of your skin, like doing a microderm treatment, what that's doing is polishing away the top layers of dead skin so that your skin naturally and through itself stimulates itself to go, oh my god, I need more cells. So it plumps up all the dead cells at the bottom and just pops them up. that keeps going. So when you're using products like cosmeceuticals, what's happening is that all of those products are going all the way down into the skin because the molecules are so small, and then as those new cells come up, it regenerates itself on that cycle. Make sense? Cool. The beautiful silver box, the crystal retinol, is 10 times stronger than normal retinol. So it's retinal, not retinol. It's the A that makes the difference. It's beautiful because it's a cream, so people that aren't very happy with oils, this is the one you want to go for. It's a water-based cream. It's stunning. It smells yummy as well, which is even better. Great for acne. I've gone all through that. Acne, everybody. We have got a stronger version, but please don't put anyone on that unless they've already gone through 1 tube of that. So the way that retinol works is you need to do the step process 3, 6, 10, all that kind of stuff. How are we getting on for time? Doing alright? How long have we got? Fine. Okay, moisturisers. So we've cleansed it, we've corrected it, now we're going to hydrate it. So these two, the Medik8, have done an incredible job for starters. So people starting skincare, they've combined the C Tetra with a moisturiser, and then at night they've combined, let's just classify that as retinol, they've combined some retinol in there as well. So there's only 1% in here and there's only 2%, let's see, because I think we changed it. What they've done is put those serums in with the moisturiser, so it's basically having some cream and having some drops and mixing it all together. Which is great if you're a starter, but you find that you plateau on this. And my problem with both of these, is that I can't layer underneath it. So I can't put anything else on there. I can put the Blemish SOS, but you can't put your skin renewal under here. So you'll get to a certain point where skin's looking great, feeling great, but it needs a little bit more. That's when you're going to have to swap out this and put in the barrier restore or the overnight whitening. But they're great for younger skins and they're great for people that just want to get started on a skincare routine. The Barrier Restore is the Priori cocktail. For me, that's like a vanilla cream. So it's a vanilla base of a cake, which means I can put, if I want to put some lemon drizzle in it, if I want to change the colour of the cake, I can do absolutely everything to it if I'm using that as a moisturiser. Does that make sense? So, because the thing is that if you're using something like C Tetra, it's like a carrot cake. I can't change what I put in it. I can't change the kind of icing you put in it. I can't do anything to it. Whereas with a Barrier Restore as your basic moisturiser, I can literally use anything underneath it to be able to get the skin to do what I want, which is why the bespoke skincare kind of ranges, you can play around so much by having the different ranges. The White Balance, it says overnight repair because the day cream has got an SPF 50. I'm personally not a fan of the consistency. I really don't like it. I don't like some creams that are that thick because I think it feels really cakey. So we've brought in the overnight repair, which has the brightening oxy in it. So it's got the tyronase inside the cream. So it's great if someone's got a little bit of acne pigmentation, if they've got a little bit of scarring pigmentation, if you want to lighten and brighten it, you can do it with that as your moisturiser and you can put anything underneath it. It's absolutely fine, it's just got that added brightening inside it. It says overnight, you can use it day and night. It's just a plain one without an SPF in it. The Ultimate Recovery is like skin glue. It's thick, it's beautiful, that's what you use on the girls with their eczema, so it's great for eczema, Ultimate Recovery. But for someone that's got a really kind of chapped, sore, eczema-y, dry skin, that when they say, I just feel like I need more on it, that's what you're looking for. So we've got it in a big version and a small version as well, just because some people go through it a lot. Yeah. It is very thick and it is skin glue. So if you don't have a skin that needs to be stuck back together and isn't distressed and isn't in the post-peel process or just naturally distressed skin, that is going to stick it together and it's not going to shed properly. So it will mean you can get congested and it can look really uneven and you can get bumps. It's the uneven look, which is where your skin hasn't shed properly, where you create mountains of dead skin cells, that causes it to then look really just dull, especially this time of year. So this time of year when everyone's come back from holiday, you want to give it about 2-3 weeks and then you want to start blitzing it with micros, even just having normal facials with having a deep exfoliation process, because that way what you're going to do is kickstart all the new cell growth to be allowed, actually by the time you get to New Year it's going to look stunning. This is also an essential post-peel and post-rejuva pen, so when you're doing microneedling. And then SPF. This is a chemical and physical SPF, so what that means is it physically blocks the skin, but the chemical aspect of the SPF absorbs the UV. So it acts like a black shade in the sun, and it will absorb it all in, so the damage can't actually get into the skin. We also have a brush on block, which we put up here, which is a translucent brush on SPF. It is a lifesaver with children because they can brush it on and they're not going to make a fuss about having sun cream in their eyes. It's also great over every makeup application. You can use it at weddings, you can use it all over. I use it when I'm on holiday and use it all over my top half of my body. It's fantastic. And also they have refillable bottoms, so you can just take the bottom off and refill the powder. Is there anything else about brush on block? It comes in a tan, but it's not a very nice colour.
No, it's funny.
It's a funny colour. Then on top of that, you've got your treatment masks. So we only have 3 masks, and 2 of them are from Vitage. So that means they're more antioxidant and cosmetic based, so they're dealing very much surface treatment of skin. The hydrating mask, all of the masks you can sleep in as a night cream. The hydrating mask is for every type of skin. It's actually fantastic for acne skin because it's going to flush and hydrate. I work very much on a hydration process when it comes to acne and congestion, because I think you're much better to flush out a swamp than you are to try and dry it out. Because if you try and dry it out, stuff's still going to grow up through it, whereas if you flush it out, nothing can grow.
Also, if you dry it out too much, it just
It
stimulates
cracks.
the oil.
Yeah. And also, that's the other thing. That's a good point. When you're stripping skin, it's a bit like when you wash your hair every day. It's like, oh my god, I need to produce more oil, and suddenly you're oily every single day and you have to wash it every single day, and it's so hard to get out of that cycle of washing your hair every day. And the same with skin, it will overproduce oil massively if you strip it. If you start using too much stripping, anything that's, your skin's an acid of 5.5, so when you're dealing with an alkali solution, you're neutralising the skin. And so what that means is it opens the skin up, so it has no protective system at all. So that then means that anything can get on, bacteria, bugs, anything. You've got none of that protective film on your skin. And so that's why with all of these products, they work in a percentage of about 4.8 and under. The peels can go down to 1.2. I think a Jasmine is 1.2, if not 0.8. I'm not sure on that, don't quote me on that. You're then moving on to this vitamin C. So Vit C is lightening, brightening. It does tingle. I find I really tingle with this mask. If I put it on at night, I kind of have to really meditate myself out of the fact that my face feels like someone's sticking tiny pins in it. It's really weird. Some people don't get that reaction at all. Just be careful if you've done a really big scrub on someone's face and you put the vitamin C mask on. Just make sure you're communicating with them if their face is really tingling. And then clay mask, which is beautiful and it is hydrating. So most clay masks dry a little bit, whereas the clay mask doesn't, because it's also got the cranberry in. It's the one that I did a nice little Instagram live about looking really sexy with a green face. Fantastic post-wedding, same as the hydrating mask to sleep in. But that, if you've got congestion, just to even use it as a spot on at night, just putting it on the areas of congestion makes a huge difference when you wake up in the morning. It reduces all of the redness, the inflammation, the puffiness, and kind of helps dry it up, especially if you put some blemish on underneath. I think that's it. And then we've got minerals, but that doesn't really, let's not deal with that. Any questions? Anybody? No. Okay. What I would say, if we're dealing with a normal skin type, so an everyday person in an ideal world would be in that kind of situation. So you've got a cleanser, you've then got your corrector, so you can either have vitamin C or skin renewal. I know when you go on training, they get you to come up with all of the product stuff for every different type of skincare, and you've got to come up with absolutely everything. But you've got to be really, really real about cost in terms of what people can actually afford to buy, because in an ideal world, you'd put in a Hydrate B5, and you'd also put in a retinol at night that they're going to swap out with this, and then you're probably going to put in an eye cream, which we haven't got, which should have been in the pot. There's one down there. That's an ITI. Have we not got? Did we not get Priori eye cream?
I think so.
Little small ones.
Yeah. There was a thing of like little tiny ones.
Oh,
Or is
but
it
then
not
in the
that?
room, if that was then.
No, they're black and
There
white.
was an eye serum, I think.
Well, please don't tell me I bought an example.
Yeah, there's no boxes here.
Right, that's why we need to. What's the lesson in ordering, Abby?
I was with you.
Yeah, but what time is it?
Oh, it was like.
Don't do an order late at night because you order the wrong stuff. So that would be an ideal world kind of situation, which isn't realistic, I don't think. You get some people, but that's also why when you're saying about putting someone on the cleanser, you'd start them off with the most basic stuff and then you'd add it in. Because what you can also do is the sun cream is moisturiser quality. So you can use that as a moisturiser for people, so at least this gets them onto a start of a programme. If they're really congested and they are really on a budget, you can put that one in. I think that's 19, which hasn't got a price tag on it.
I think it's 19.
For younger skins that are congested and acne, that's your routine that you want to do. So cleanse, blemish SOS and SPF 30. Really, really basic. You can go really jazzy, you can add everything in, you can add the retinol eye serums, you can add in what you can also do is put the C Tetra serum or the pure C15, which is really awesome, underneath the C Tetra cream. Let's add in a foaming cleanser. So you can do your foaming cleanser. So this is someone who has more mature, more dehydrated, more reddish kind of skin. And so you do your Calm Wise, you then do your Pure C15, so only 2 drops. You do that morning and night. You put your C Tetra cream over the top and you do your SPF 30 to finish. I don't know, what vibrated just then? Something else? I think the only other thing we've got here is the Glow Oil. So the Glow Oil is purely just a face treatment oil which has vitamin C in it. I would use that before you put your moisturiser on, after your C Tetra or your Calm Wise or your Hydro Hydro V5. Thank you. Is there any one?
That's why I just sat here and sorted for everyone.
What a wally. So that's the icing. After that, and you can put the retinol underneath that actually, and it works really, really well. Any questions? Anybody? About routines, about particular skin types?
When do you start people on them? Like, as in my children, when would I start putting creams on their faces?
I would say 30. The minute they start wearing makeup, not fancy dress makeup, the minute they start putting a foundation on their skin is the minute they need to start cleansing. And not only do they need to cleanse, they also need to use the SPF because they need to protect it. So an SPF acts like a shield. So it literally is like a visor. So what you want is your visor on, and then you can apply your makeup all over the top, a bit like the map in Peter Pan, and then you can just wash it off. What you don't want is for them filling it up with gunk and creating, especially, it's mainly foreheads with the young lot. It's that they put their stuff on and they focus up here when they start their makeup application. They work all the way up here and they fill it with absolute gunk. And that's the hardest bit to clear is forehead. So that's, and especially because they have fringes. So if they've got a fringe, it acts like a microclimate. It literally just sits over the top and all their sweat and everything sits underneath it. It's disgusting. And it's really hard to clear. That's when micro is great because it removes the whole top layer and literally acts like taking the Coke lids off Coke cans. And you can just get everything out and clear it. Good question. Anyone else got a question?
For if we have like men but not with congested skin, but which one want to have routine, which would be?
Yeah, what should I get Richard on?
Cleansing, because you can shave with it.
Yeah, cleansing.
So when should he use that?
A tiny weeny bit in the morning.
Yeah.
If you're shaving in the morning, would you foam it up or would you not foam it up?
I
It
think
says
that.
foam.
So you can foam it up. So you put it in your hands, foam it on, shave.
Shave with that?
Yeah.
Because it's,
So use
fo-
that for
it's,
foam.
it's
Yeah,
really
and also
lovely.
because of the antioxidants, it's going to reduce the redness, so it will stop them getting shaving rash. It's very different at the moment because so many men have beards, which is quite hard to manage from a skincare point of view because they get food and icky stuff in, which is why you really want to make sure that they're clean, which is why that cleanser is the best thing you can get for a guy. in terms of if you've got a guy with more oil control, who needs more oil control, so slightly oily, slightly shiny, men's skins normally have bigger pores. Big pores is because of dehydration. So your pores open to allow the skin to expand, a bit like an anthill when there's been no rain. So the anthill opens to get as much surface area to be able to get as much water in as possible. It also happens when people go through menopause. So the minute your estrogen starts hitting off, your sebaceous glands swell, and because the gland is swollen, the pore opens. So you'll find more mature skins that are really shiny, but really dehydrated. They'll feel like crepe paper, but they almost have to block their face. And that's when you want to get on the skin renewal and you want to get the hydration going with the Hydrate V5.
So you know, and for men, which moisturizer?
Either Barrier Restore, I'd stick to Barrier, or if they're just new to skin, just put them on C-Tetra and they can use that morning and night. Men in the office/city need to be using an SPF, whether that's a brush on SPF or a physical SPF, because screens, computer screens and mobile phones produce more UV than a sunbed. So if they're sitting in front of a computer screen all day, they're aging themselves minute by minute, which is why the guys in the city look haggard and the guys that are kind of out doing normal stuff, other than the guys that are in the sun, look way less haggard. So I think screens are one of the biggest problems with skin, because we just have no concept that that's actually aging us every time we sit in front of it.
Which is under 6.
Yeah, which is like, it's like 6 sunbed things. Like, yeah, it's just aging. A guy like that, you then put on an eye cream as well, because you're going to notice the aging all around here and on your forehead.
The crystals, do you have to prep the skin before, or can you use it every day?
The crystal retinol, same as the original retinol. So you still have to prep it. So you start 2 days a week, 3 days a week, 4 days a week, every other day, and then every day. I would say, I have found, and I found other people are breaking out on it with acne, because all of the gunk that sits in the skin down here has stayed really dormant for a really long time. And so this retinol has come in and it's pushing it up. So you get your skin really clear, then you start using your retinol and it just explodes with stuff that you had no concept it was even
But
there.
it does go.
It does go.
Just keep persevering.